Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Calling the meeting to order of the Quapaw Nation Business Committee regularly scheduled meeting, Saturday, February 18th, 2023. The time is 9:22, and I do apologize for my tardiness this morning. At this time, could we have, Michelle, would you mind to do the invocation, please?
Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you, Lord, that we're allowed to be here together as our Quapaw people. We just pray that you'll guide and direct this meeting, Lord, with our words and our actions. And we just thank you, Lord, for the many blessings that you bestowed upon our tribe. We ask, Lord, that you'll be with those that are not able to be here for whatever reason, Lord. Again, we just thank you for this beautiful day, and we thank you for allowing us to come together. In your name we pray. Amen.
Gunagay, Michelle. Roll call and declaration of quorum. Madam Secretary.
Member Newton, Secretary Treasurer Super not here, Chairman Byrd, Vice Chair Bowden, Member Mercer. Quorum declared.
Okay, we have a quorum. At this time, we'll move into the reading, correction, and approval of minutes. We have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion on the matter? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstention? Motion passes and the minutes are approved. Next up are the reading, correction, and approval of electronic polls. I think we'll start with Michelle.
Okay, the first one is a resolution authorizing the appointments of two public defenders, Mr. Bennett and Mr. Gallen, for the Quapaw Nation courts. And I noticed on this one, I'm going to, and at the end, I'm going to make a motion to amend the decision summary to one abstain instead of one absent. It was just switched, and so it just needs corrected as far as on the decision summary. The second poll is regarding the O-gah-pah Coffee LLC. This, to make this company an LLC to be compliant with the Food and Drug Administration, the entity name needs to be legally changed to O-gah-pah Coffee Company LLC. Right now, it's just O-gah-pah Coffee LLC for purposes of registering it with the FDA. And we'll get it registered. But we will register the name O-gah-pah Coffee as doing business as entity title. The nation is merely legally informing the entity for continued operations as a tribal LLC, but its operational structure will not change until we implement a new operating agreement. And that was approved with majority as 4. The next one is a request by Mitch Albright with the Quapaw Cattle Company regarding office expansion at the feed yard location. It would assist him in being in an office closer to where he needs to be when it comes time to check off. He's out in the field a lot, but it would make him closer to where the computer would be and closer to where he's at. It would also open up more offices at the QSA. We're fortunate that Mitch has a construction degree and the skills to build it, along with we have several other skilled employees that can take care of the electronic HVAC. So it's something that can be done very affordable within a matter of short time. And this funding will come out of the cattle company budget. The next one is a request by John Jackson for Rhonda Weaver, our Title VI director. She has requested a 2-stall carport to cover their vehicles and staff during inclement weather. One of the vehicles is their food truck. And this was, Rhonda needed to get this approved by her grant manager to be allocated for this project. And this project has been in the works. It started. And majority of this funding she had saved for this purpose, and it was coming out. It's coming out of the Title VI ARPA Part C and a small portion out of the general fund for this project. So we're excited about that.
So the next phone poll is from Hannah Berryman at NEO A&M College as the lead cultural mentor. So this is for the American Indian Center for Excellence. It was a request for $400 to help cover the food for 50 people attending a career fair. And the Quapaw Nation will be recognized for donating on that particular event. That phone poll was approved. Next one is the Lincolnville Sewer Project Procurement. So this one was from John Jackson Jr. So the RFP and the bidding was completed for that particular project. It was awarded to Utility Field Services, a native-owned Oklahoma-based company. And the bid came in below what the engineer's estimate was. That particular phone poll was approved. The next two pertain to the Miami High School After Prom Committee. The first one is a cash donation of $750. The next one is actually $250, a value of $250 donated for hamburger patties. So in total, just like the other after prom events, comes up to $1,000. Vice Chair.
The next phone poll that was approved was the approval of the fiscal year 2023 through 2025 CCDF tribal plan and funding. It is a resolution that supports the funding under the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Children and Families Child Care Development Fund. That was approved by 4. The next one that we have up is an approval of an updated schedule of fees and other matters related to fees within the Quapaw Nation Court. This new fee schedule included increases for civil actions, civil filings, civil post judgments, criminal actions, juvenile matters, miscellaneous, service fees, miscellaneous fees, small claims, traffic, tribal license and bar fees, and tribal license. And nope, that was a continuation of tribal license and bar fees, and that was approved. The next one that we have is a resolution supporting the Rural Utilities Service, Distance Learning, and Telemed. This is a resolution in support of the Rural Utilities Service, Distance Learning, and Telemedicine Grant. The Quapaw Nation will significantly benefit from the technology and healthcare resources this project will fund. They will manage the grant, but we will have access to the services. And then the next one was a criminal law fill-in resolution. And what this resolution does is the criminal code was temporarily amended to incorporate the substantive criminal laws of the state of Oklahoma. And this will expire in 5 years. This gives us an opportunity to be able to include any crimes that we did not previously adopt in our criminal code. And hopefully by the end of 5 years, we won't have to make any more amendments, but we put an expiration to use the Quapaw, or not the Quapaw, excuse me, the state of Oklahoma's codes.
The next poll is from our legal counsel that has advised that a settlement has been reached with Allegra, Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, and it authorizes the nation to take part in class settlement. And that poll was approved. The next poll is Intertribal Business Council, Oklahoma membership of tribes, and the draft letter for that, and it was approved. I think I got off on it. The next poll, NCAI membership and resolution authorizing the renewal of membership to the National Congress of American Indians. It was approved. The next poll was generators for elder housing. That is for the electricity. If the electric goes out, we now have generators to the housing for those who require continuous electric for oxygen and all of that. And that poll was approved.
So picking up at poll 11446, initial consultation request from the Musée de Croix Branly, Jacques Chirac. A few weeks ago, this national museum in France that houses our collections of painted buffalo hides invited the Quapaw Nation to consult and discuss their collection in details. That includes other objects from the Arkansas, Louisiana, and Illinois territories. This initial consultation will take place in April and includes other participating tribal nations. Based on the communications, this consultation is the first step at bringing the Quapaw buffalo robes back home for the public, and will take future support to achieve this very historic mission. That was approved. 11467, admin building restoration and renovation. This is a change order request for everything that is not covered by insurance and contains the balance due at the completion of the project. That was approved. And 11469 is the Intertribal Buffalo Council fiscal year 2022 herd development grant proposal resolution. This is a resolution requesting for a hydraulic chute that will enable the crew to work the herd directly in the field rather than having to transport them, which will reduce overall expenses associated with the program. That was approved. And included in this month's agenda is poll 2875, titled Second Opinion Invoice Payment, Quapaw Nation Vice Chair corrected. What this was a poll approving a second legal opinion that was requested by the Vice Chair and paid back for services rendered during the business committee compensation process. And the reason it's being brought back up this month in our e-polls is because the poll was also entered incorrectly. And anytime we catch mistakes, the business committee will observe this practice in an effort to correct our legislative history and records as we move forward. So those are the phone polls. I believe you wanted to make a motion to approve with the amended changes. Okay. Do I have a second? We have a second. Any discussion? Thank you. Any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries and the e-polls have been approved. Next on the agenda, item 6 is the approval, disapproval of the treasurer's report. We have a motion to approve.
I will second.
As well as a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion passes and the treasurer's report is approved. Dropping down to directors and subcommittee reports submitted. We have a motion to approve. A second. Any discussion?
Oh, sorry. Many of the teams, some of the directors have been working collaboratively to simplify our internal reporting. It's basically a part of these directors' reports. the Department of Public Safety together, consolidated their reports. And this month was the beta process where they submitted the old version of the reports in addition to the new consolidated report. The goal being to make it easier to call to attention for the BC, any obstacles, any roadblocks that might be out there without necessarily reading 25 pages of detail where you can't really tell what's going on. So the business committee has, both versions available this month. And the expectation is that hopefully that will go well. The feedback will go well. We haven't had a chance to review that jointly, and we'll be simplifying other teams, like the tribal member services and other areas as well, to make risk management, in essence, much more straightforward to communicate to the business committee.
Thank you, Secretary. Any other discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstention? Motion passes, and the directors and subcommittee reports are approved. Next up is the chairman's report. And I'm going to switch things up a little bit and call to attention those that have passed away since our last meeting. And so at this time, I'd like everyone to bear with me and pay our respects to those tribal members. And this month, we pay respect to Larry Bonham. And if there is anybody else that would like to offer a name up that we need to pay respects to, I'll take those names now. Okay, well, at this time, please bear with me in a moment of reverence. Gonna get. So later this month, the business committee is traveling to Washington, D.C. to meet with Congress to push the bear settlement forward. We have scheduled meetings with our congressional delegation members from Oklahoma as well as Arkansas. This includes legislators in both the House and the Senate. We believe the bill will be introduced in this legislative session and will have a more favorable outcome with this class of Congress, who seem to be more favorable to Indian-related issues. And I think it bears mentioning, no pun intended, that the original sponsor of HR 4715 is now a sitting committee member of the Senate Committee on Indian Affairs. So that's a pretty big deal in this overall process, but we're looking forward to good, lively interactions with our congressional delegation, and we will certainly keep everyone posted and appraised of how things shake out. Again, we'll be leaving in a couple weeks there. Updates on the Saracen Casino. The final numbers for December came back really solid. Saracen recognized $1.8 million in interest expense savings in December. So for the full calendar year of 2022, the Saracen property saved $31.5 million in interest expense alone, which is really, really phenomenal. And the EBITDA also finished strong with 15.2% above budget. Compared to the previous year, gaming revenue increased by $1.6 million. Slots and table games revenue were down, but really only 1.8% from the previous year. However, that decrease is being offset by our sportsbook revenue, which continues to outperform expectations. For the year, Saracen is ahead of budget by $3.1 million and is performing really well. The development of the Phase 2 project has commenced with preliminary remediation work in preparing the ground and the foundation for the construction of the hotel and the event center, which is projected to begin in the second or third quarter of this year. For the downstream casino, for the month end of January, DCR was crushing it with an overall EBITDA margin of 47%, which exceeded budgeted expectations. Net revenue was also strong with an increase of 1.6%. Slot net win increased by 120% from the previous January. This revenue improvement is interesting because it is the first time in 6 months that revenue has increased year over year. So in other words, inflation data shows elevated levels in every section. But with unemployment rate at lowest levels since the 1960s, Missouri is even lower than the national average. But people are still gaming, and they're gaming at downstream, which is encouraging because it reflects our ability to capture the market and our level of service for retaining our players. So as long as the labor market holds strong, we will expect good solid revenue for all of our gaming properties. Yesterday, Downstream made a principal prepayment totaling $5 million, bringing the total long-term debt eliminated to $122 million, or 40% of the outstanding balance since December of 2021. So let me rephrase that. In 14 years, Downstream is blazing a trail of total debt elimination at $122 million and completed 40% of the mission at hand. For that, I want to commend everyone at Downstream for their hard work and their dedication of working for the Quapaw Nation. And while I'm on the subject, I again want to thank the entire property for their gracious hospitality. As we said farewell to our fellow business committee member, Mike Shawnee, they truly went above and beyond, and can't thank them enough. So on behalf of the business committee, we thank them for their efforts. As many of you know by now, I have declared my candidacy for Cherokee Nation Council. And so at this time, I'd like to read a prepared statement about that. As the son of Joe Bird and Suzanne Moore, I believe I've inherited the best of both of my parents. My identity has always been complicated by the fact that I get my Cherokee from my full-blood bilingual father, and I am Quapaw and Osage through my beloved late mother. All my life, I have been very much a part of all three tribal communities, and my children will have an even more complicated identity, and their children after that. Both my mother and my grandmother instilled in me the importance of getting my education. I was told I would need it to help my tribal community one day. And when my mother passed away from cancer in 2017, I used her death, or rather her life, as motivation to finish law school. During the global pandemic in 2020, I was elected chairman of the Quapaw Nation and used my grandmother's decreasing health as my drive to serve the Quapaw people to the best of my ability. During my first term in office, a period of 24 months, Quapaw Nation became the only tribe in Arkansas to operate a commercial gaming property. We were able to refinance $675 million in debt, which has led to saving millions of dollars in interest expense and eliminating hundreds of millions of dollars in debt. These huge cost savings have resulted in a significant increase of the tribal dividend that is only set to grow larger if this trajectory continues. In addition to our gaming enterprises reflecting the best financial position in the history of the tribe, I advocated for and oversaw the litigation to affirm the Quapaw Reservation, becoming one of only 6 tribal nations in the state of Oklahoma to do so. Under my administration, the first Quapaw Nation Supreme Court was established, along with judges, prosecutors, public defenders, and court personnel. In order to respond to this historic shift in jurisdiction, Quapaw Nation enacted new criminal codes, achieving historic advancements within the reservation boundaries, including special domestic violence criminal jurisdiction over non-Indians. I led successful negotiations that resulted in cross-deputization agreements with 7 different local and state law enforcement agencies, which allowed for seamless protection of the reservation. The Quapaw Nation Marshal Service expanded, along with our fire and EMS, and the Quapaw became the first tribe in the country to operate a 911 dispatch for an entire county. Since I have been chairman, the tribe has distributed nearly $25 million in direct COVID relief funds to every citizen, and we're due to add another $10 million to that nearly today, as well as thousands of tons of food distributions. I seated the tribe's science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics fair, which, by the way, is being held Monday at the Wellness Center at 10 o'clock. We created a graduation incentive for high school, college, and vocational training and implemented a tuition reimbursement program for tribal employees. During this time, utility assistance has increased, almost doubling for elders and adults. In my second term, I called a special general council of the Quapaw people for the purpose of government reform, which will result in long-needed sweeping changes to our governing document in the months to come. However, in my second term, it is obvious that I have become less effective, and this is largely due to the opposition that I have been faced with by members and colleagues of the business committee. While I believe I still have overwhelming support from the citizens of Quapaw, the distrust that has invaded our government and operations has impacted my ability to advance the nation. For these reasons, I believe I have completed as much work as that could be done here, despite these conditions. Last month, I lost my dear relative and mentor, Mike Shawnee, who was also a member of the business committee. And in our last conversation, he stressed the importance of continuing to hold people accountable and never losing focus of what matters most in life: family. Many are aware that I have a family of my own. I'd like to think I move with the conviction of exemplifying someone that my daughters can be proud of. Last week, at the request of the Quapaw Nation Grievance Committee, I called a special general council meeting to act upon complaints of misconduct by the vice chair of the business committee. Once the Quapaw people are given the opportunity to review these allegations, these grievances, removal is a likely outcome. I want to make clear that the evidence that will be provided is that which was created by the vice chair and her alone. It reflects her own actions and no one else's. Last April, I lost the single greatest piece of Quapaw and Osage identity I had in my life: my grandmother, who was a cornerstone of the Quapaw Nation. She was the chair of the culture committee, a storyteller, historian, language instructor, and artist. The efforts I've led throughout my tenure as chairman were in hopes of making her proud while serving the same community she devoted so much of her life to. And in her last days, she couldn't even remember my name. I think about the legacy she left and the impact she had on me when making decisions for the tribe. I feel I've given everything I have in my service to Quapaw. I am one of only 5 business committee members currently serving, with 2 vacancies that will not be filled until May and June. This March, the vice chair could be removed, leaving only 4 serving on the Quapaw Nation Business Committee. In July, 4 new members will be elected, and I strongly urge our general council to vote. Get out and vote. For these reasons, I will not be resigning my seat immediately. I will always be committed to a functioning government, no matter how dysfunctional it may seem at times. I have served my Quapaw people well during a global pandemic, economic inflation, and historic changes to our government. I have exercised and defended Quapaw tribal sovereignty along every step of the way, and I proudly stand by my record of leadership. I acknowledge that leadership is in my blood through both sides of my lineage, but that is not where it ends. My passion for serving Indian communities is what has sustained me, and it is the driving force for me declaring candidacy in the Cherokee Nation Council race. I will always be Quapaw, just like I will always be Cherokee, and I will always be Osage. And I will always carry responsibilities and respect of each as I was raised. I will always be Joseph Byrd, and I will always be a tribal leader, regardless of whether I am elected. To every single person that voted for me and has supported me throughout my tenure, thank you for believing in my leadership. Thank you for this opportunity to lead our nation through a very troubling and challenging time. And I hope I'm still welcome at your camp, because you will always be welcome at mine. Gunny Gay. This concludes my report. Eric.
Good morning. Before I give you the January numbers, I want to correct something that I did not report correctly for December, and that was on the tribal member health benefit. For the month of December, the tribal member health benefit, we expended $485,000, bringing our total for the first quarter to $1.2 million. January, we received $2.3 million in the general fund, bringing our total for the year to $8.2 million. Actual expenses were $2.1 million in January, bringing our total for the year to $9.4 million. The tribal member health benefit in January was $405,000, bringing our total for the year to $1.6 million. Social services in January was $323,000, bringing our total for the year to $800,000. And that's through the 4 months of our fiscal year, not the beginning of our benefit year, which was January. Our education expenses in January was $173,000, bringing our total for the fiscal year to $376,000. And that's all I have. Does anybody have any questions? All right, thank you.
Howard, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Is it okay? Thank you, Eric, for that report. Good report. Next up on the agenda are subcommittee appointments. We have two appointments that we're announcing today. It's a consensus of the business committee here. So the first one, I'd like to announce an appointment to the election committee, Ms. Julia Pibashi. So thank you for volunteering and stepping up to this task at hand. And I think you'll do a really great job. And then to the EFA committee, the appointment of Todd Weaver. Do we have Todd here? No. He might be running things over at Downstream. He's always. So Todd Weaver over at the EFA committee, and Julia to be placed in the election committee. And those are the subcommittee appointments. Thank you. And dropping down to subcommittee reports. Any subcommittees at this time? Committees? I believe there's a mic at the podium.
Okay, good. We'll be hearing later today or in a while about resolution of the upcoming vote for the amendments that were passed at this last special meeting of the General Council or the Indian Council. What you could expect from the Constitution Committee, though, is we'll have an announcement next month of open meetings where we are going to be soliciting additional feedback on the upcoming phase, which will be business committee roles, the business committee as a whole, their role, and then rights and responsibilities of the Indian Council as well. So that's it. Any questions? We're going to be talking about it this month, but we'll be announcing them next month, next meeting. Yes. Correct.
So we are starting our fundraising for our Cancer Awareness Committee, ramping that up. March 17th, we'll have a biscuit and gravy sale at the farmer's market starting at 6 a.m. April 30th is our golf scramble, second annual. Get your teams in, sponsor a hole. There's flyers out. And then May 5th is going to be our garage sale. So holler at us if you have anything you want to donate to us as well. But that will be at the red building across from the new OLC. And also, if you know anybody who, the Long Branch, next to the old Long Branch. If you know anybody who needs our assistance, have them get a hold of us. Misty is our chair of our committee, so it's easy. I'll give you her email. It's mscott@quapawnation.com. So have her holler at us. We're also getting with communications to get a page up on the website. So we'll have those applications available there. Come see it. April 30th at the Downstream Golf Course. Yeah. And we're also taking sponsorship. So if you don't want to play, send people our way.
Anybody else?
Good morning. I'm here representing the grievance committee. As stated previously, there is a special general council on March 11th. I would just like to also note that there is a document that is now posted on the Quapaw tribal website. For those of you that have had questions, that was uploaded yesterday for you to read through in case that might answer anything. I would also like to pay heed to having any preconceived notions before this meeting. This meeting is being held for the people. The general council represents the people. So please, I know the rumor mills can get going and there can be very many things said beforehand. I would just like for all parties involved to please refrain from aiding in that until the meeting where everyone has their opportunity. The grievance committee also will not be answering any questions in regard to this meeting before March 11th in an effort to protect all parties involved and to allow the people their opportunity to hear everything. And this also allows us not to have the game of telephone of I heard this, and all of a sudden it changes into something that is completely not relevant anymore. But I just wanted to state that March 11th. We also had a meeting yesterday, a very good meeting, and all grievances up to this point. I would also like to remind everyone, grievances are independent of one another. They are not dependent on one another. They are each looked at separately. All grievances to this point have been answered except for two, in which contact has been made with these two individuals, and that we are processing them as we go. But once I said they are all independent of one another. So March 11th, people of the nation, please be there so that you can hear all sides of all parties involved. So, thank you.
Thank you, Laura. And I'd like to further add that that proceeding will not be live streamed. So anybody wanting to participate is going to have to be there in person. Downstream Pavilion at 9 a.m. March 11th. Anybody else? You look like you might have some election news.
No, I just qualified.
Yeah, I'm curious. What other news then? Okay.
You're either living or dying. So, Hawaii. Good morning, everyone. Sorry, shouldn't have said that. Just a courtesy reminder, if you have any family members or know of acquaintances that is not on the Veterans Wall, please reach out to me through ldavis@quapawnation.com so we can try to get your name on the Veterans Wall out here before July 4th. So there is a deadline to get that done. But also, and if you have family members that have graves that do not have tombstones, please reach out to us. We want to work with you too to make sure that we have our loved ones properly marked and located. So just courtesy FYI, once again, reach out to me, Lloyd Buffalo as well, and go from there. Gonna go.
Thank you, Linda. Appreciate that. Okay. Anybody else? Is Lori here? Is anybody? No, it's Frank. Frank, do you have any updates for the election committee? You can't say no. You.
Okay, my name is Frank Frazier. I'm the chair of the election committee now since Linda resigned. And we are working very hard and getting everything set up. This is new territory. We're going to have two special elections. Got the special general council coming up, and we'll have our annual election. So everything's following on the timeline. I know a lot of people have already called in requesting absentee ballots sent to them. We haven't even had the ballots sent back to us from the printer yet. So that's the holdup. Everything's on a timeline and nobody's been forgotten. You call the office, they'll put your name on the list. As soon as we get the packets made up, they will be mailed out to you. Other than that, hopefully everything goes good.
Appreciate it, Frank. Can you clarify the dates of those elections, please?
Yeah, hang on a second. I got a note in my jacket.
Okay. Thank you. I know one is April 15th, isn't it?
Okay, our first special election will be Saturday, April 15th. It'll be 9 to 5. Hopefully at the community building.
I hope so too.
Hopefully. This will be for the unexpired term of BC member Turley. Our second election will be for the unexpired term of Mike Shawnee, and it will be held on June the 3rd, 9 to 5 also. And as always, you will need to bring your ID, 2 forms of ID. If you have the little voter's registration card with your picture and your ID, that's all you need. A lot of us still use the old red card. That's fine too, but you'll still have to have another separate form of identification. We have a lot of people come in every election and say, well, this is all I used last election. Well, no, it couldn't have been, because we always have to go by the rules, and the rules state what you have to have: 2 forms of ID. You can subsequent that by going out to the tribal office and get a new card made. Shows you're a registered voter, and we'll have your picture. And that way you don't have to show that when you come in. And then our annual election will be as always, on July 22nd. We will have 4 seats up, the vice chair and 3 members. And hopefully everything, like I said, will go smooth through this transitions. This is a new one, two special elections, special general council. Everything's going to be busy.
And there's one other item too, in conjunction with the Constitution Committee.
Oh, yes.
Because we are set to pass and enact that language.
Yes. Also on our annual election, we will be voting on the 16 amendments that were approved at the last special general council. Those will be 16 separate votes. So it'll be very important for everybody to read these and be aware of what you're voting for. Although they were all voted in, that does not mean that you have to agree and vote yes on all of them. If there's something you don't like, don't vote for it. Also, the same way with voting for our people that are running for election. You can vote for, 3 members and a vice chair. Doesn't mean you have to always vote for 3. If you don't like who's running, you can just vote for one person out of the 3. Vote for all 3 if you like the choices. That's all up to you as an individual voter. And this is something that needs to be taken very seriously. This will really affect the outcome for our tribe for the next couple of years to come. So hopefully, we'll get away from having these special elections all the time due to unforeseen circumstances. I think that's all I've got, Joe.
Okay. Thank you, Frank. Appreciate you in the election committee. Are there any more subcommittees, committees? Okay. We're going to go to director's reports. And first up is our CHR, Mr. Chuckluck, who is here today. I don't know what happened there. Good to see you today, though.
Yeah. So my name's Dwayne Chuckluck, and I'm with CHR. So I'm actually going to do reports for CHR and community paramedic, because we kind of we're 2 different things, but we actually do a lot of stuff together. So myself and Kyle Arnell. So on the community health, at our monthly health screening that we do over here at Title VI, normally it's conducted on the 3rd Wednesday of the month. We evaluated 15 individuals, and on that evaluation, we do blood pressure, pulse ox, heart rate, and blood sugar. And now we're going to start hopefully next month, we're going to start doing people's blood types. We've got the kits in now where we can actually do people's blood types for them. So hopefully we start doing that next month. I'm not sure if we're going to or not yet. So, and then on home visits for CHR, there was 13 home visits conducted or welfare checks. 27 patients was transported to the doctor's offices, and that could be any type of doctor's offices. So, also there was medication picked up for 10 different individuals at the surrounding pharmacies. So, and then community health responded to 4 different emergency responses, and that could be car wrecks, house fires, medical emergencies. So I respond some with the fire department, just along as also the community paramedic does too. So, then on the community paramedic side, Kyle had 66 home visits, which he does a little more home visits than I do because I do most of the transports. So that's why he's got 66 and I have 13 like that. So he went over to OLC 3 different times to evaluate the children because they'll have one that gets hurt or something. So they call. He administered 9 medications. Well, went to 9 individuals' houses and administered medications. So we've got some that take B12 shots, some that take testosterone. And then we've got a couple that are cancer patients that before their chemo, their doctor would like to have them to have an IV. So Kyle will go out there and start an IV and administer either 500 or 1,000 cc's of fluid to them just to boost so they're not dehydrated when they go in and get it done. And then he also responded to 4 different emergency responses throughout the month. So, does anybody got any questions?
No questions here. Good report. And thank you. Okay, next up, we have our grants department, Mr. Brian Ross.
Sure, I'll slobber on it. That'll work. I'm Brian Ross. I'm the director of the grants department. The past month or two has kind of been the calm before the storm for us. We didn't have any grants awarded, denied, or submitted. We do still have one pending application that's $2 million for a new family services building. Coming up, though, we have over a dozen notice of funding opportunities or grant solicitations that we've been reviewing for other departments. And we're kind of taking a new approach to the grant writing process, where we're working more as a team with potential project managers. They're going to take more of an active role in the grant writing process with us. So far that's working out really well for us. We've got 8 applications, potential applications. No guarantee we'll have viable projects for all of those within the next couple of months. So quite a bit of work on our plate for the foreseeable future. The 2 big ones, we've got a Department of Transportation grant we're working with John Jackson Jr. on for the Ray property development, the 20 affordable housing units that we're getting ready to build. And then another one, big application we submit every year is with the Department of Justice's Coordinated Tribal Assistance. We will likely be working with the marshals, courts, and maybe family services on that program. That's still to be determined what all we're applying for there. So those are the big ones. Any other questions?
No questions. Thank you, Brian. Good report. Next up is QSA remediation.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Maria Dam. I'm the director of the QSA remediation.
Good morning.
Our reports are kind of blended with Quapaw Nation Environmental Office. So I'll be reading from what Craig has submitted, and then if anybody has any questions. Can you hear me okay? Okay. The environmental office has been very busy managing and conducting various environmental activities related to multiple grants and cooperative agreements related to the Tar Creek Superfund site. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency and the Oklahoma Department of Environmental Equality have funded the environmental department to perform all the Superfund remediation at the Tar Creek site. This includes project management, field work, quality control, quality assurance required to meet the deliverables established within the 6 current Superfund cooperative agreement grants. The environmental department is working with the realty department to secure more chat sale agreements between tribal chat owners and local chat processors for future sales of marketable chat. The environmental office hosted a remedial action partners meeting. The environmental office continues to advocate for alternative uses of chat, which would possibly include staging it all at the Central Mill Tailings Pond Repository on the side that the Quapaw Nation owns in fee status. To facilitate the sale of this chat material at a later time, but make remediation activities available. Also, the environmental office is looking to work with the National Renewable Energy Labs to research the possibility of recovery of zinc from the fine tailings facilities scattered across the tribal lands. The environmental office is developing a work plan and budget that will include the remediation of the property within the Quapaw Strip and in adjacent to Elm Creek near the existing Bird Dog Project site. This is a Region 7 operation. We would be moving across the state line into the Quapaw Strip and into the creek to clean that up. So, is there any questions on that? Currently, our day-to-day operations through the month of January, we ran 14 days and moved 78,134 tons of material. The weather's kind of getting us right now, but we're still working as much as we can and keeping everybody as busy as we can through the bad weather days. We don't. Well, we do, but again, weather depending. Yes, all of our tonnages are they're pre-calculated in cooperative agreements. They can exceed, in which case then we go back and have to do an amendment to certain sites. So on our 2-week look aheads, we project that so for example, Bird Dog on an average 70 loads a day with off-road trucks consolidate 1,500 tons per day of material. The Barrett site, 11 loads a day per truck, an average of 1,700 tons of source material chat per day. And so each one of our sites that we're actively working at, we can't do though I'm trying to make this make sense. We don't have a target like absolute, say 100,000 tons a month, or the cooperative agreements. They're all different with every single site. Not in my head, no. But that's information if I can get to you at a later time. Absolutely.
So you allocate, say, $2 million a year, that's broken down in the budget line, carry line, right? So you have your health, safety, you have still water and stuff like that. So just from the past stuff. So if you did awarded $10 million for right, it's still set up where you actually set up the pay apps. You guys will do an actual good job. And the pay app was the way that, it basically comes out to roughly, by the time everything's done, we got built on like $15, $16 per ton. by the time you feel like, you know, that's what they think. So, I mean, just to help out for people that.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Ed. Anybody else?
Thank you. Thank you for your report. Henry?
So we have our marketable piles, and those obviously they go to the chat processors. Non-marketable material goes to the repository, and then the source material, which is contaminated dirt, that also goes to the Central Mill repository. It's off of 40 Road. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up, DPS, fire, and EMS.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Name's Leon Crow. I'm Fire Chief, Quapaw Nation Fire EMS. Month of January, our total call volume was 287. 218 of them were medical calls, 69 fire calls. Out of the 69 fire calls, 25 of them were structure fires for the month, which is a busy month on structures. The week of
What was
January
that
6th,
again? I'm sorry, Leon. Could you repeat
25
the-
structure fires.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
And that's throughout our service area. So it could be Miami, Commerce, Quapaw area. So we also, once a year, we do our refresher for our medics, our EMTs and our paramedics. That took place January 16th through the 20th, which they get their CPR cards and all their hours to renew their license. Starting Monday will be our Guardians Conference at Downstream. As of right now, Friday, we had 440 registered conference attendees and 36 vendors that's sponsoring it. So very good turnout.
And can you explain to the folks what that is?
Yes. The Guardians Conference is 2 days of medical training for nurses, paramedics, EMTs. And the last 2 years we have included the Marshal Service. So they're bringing in some law enforcement training also more this year. So it's a 3-day conference. The third day this year is got a new twist on it. We're also doing some actual fire training classes. So trying to involve all of DPS into one 3-day training session. So at Downstream Pavilion.
Right.
So
I think I interrupted your report.
no, you're fine. Busy.
Yeah.
So, and that's it. Any questions, comments?
No questions
All
here.
right. Thank you.
Good report. Thank you. I believe that concludes all of the director's reports. Next up on the agenda is new business. Would anybody like to take that resolution?
So the first resolution is 021823A. It's a resolution authorizing a program to provide for direct payments to qualifying enrolled members of the Quapaw Nation, tiny homes for domestic violence, and food sovereignty funding from federal funds received under the coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery funds under the moniker of ARPA. More specifically, I'm just going to give some of the highlights. The direct payment amounts: elders, $2,500, adults, $2,000, minors, $1,500. There is an application process that must be followed, and that application period begins April the 3rd and concludes 6 weeks later on May the 12th. So again, those dates are April 3rd through May the 12th. Similar to last time, an electronic application form is available that feedback was very positive last time because it helped expedite payments as well as status updates throughout the processing. Motion to approve.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Discussion item. So I just want to make sure that everybody's aware. Now, granted, I went through the details on the direct payments. In addition to that, we're also funding tiny homes for domestic violence victims, as well as food sovereignty. These three items were high and above the most popular selections during the survey period. So this resolution is completely in alignment with the survey results.
Thank you for that clarification. Any other discussion on the matter? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? Any abstention? Motion passes and the resolution is adopted. Next up is 021823B, which is a resolution to approve sending amendments to the election committee to become about balloted measures in adherence to the 2004 election ordinance. And this is a complete list of the approved language by the Quapaw Nation Indian Council, also known as the General Council, for amendments to be voted on as approved at the special meeting of the Quapaw Indian Council that concluded on January 29th.
Motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve. And we have a second. Any discussion on this matter? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries and the resolution is adopted. Next up is resolution 021823C, which is a resolution adopting the Quapaw Nation Hazard Mitigation Plan. I'll entertain a motion for that approval. We have a motion to approve and we have a second. Any discussion? You want to comment on that?
One thing I did want to bring up on this is this particular plan only gets updated. I think it's every 5 years. What impressed me the most when this plan was reviewed and updated, it is a very collaborative effort. The review session held with the business committee to point out the key changes, there probably were 15 to 20 people in that room, and each one of whom represents specific service areas throughout the Quapaw Nation, coming together, updating the plan. This is a cornerstone of not only emergency response, but also a fundamental component that's required for additional grant funding. There are projects that have been completed, such as some of our storm shelters right out here, that were achieved, that grant funding was achieved because this plan is kept current and on file with FEMA.
All right. Thank you, Secretary. Any other comments in the discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries and the resolution is adopted. So dropping down to item 14 on the agenda, donations. We have a donation request from the Commerce Public School after prom. This is the donation will help assist with prizes and activities for the after prom, and it's a good event to provide a safe space for the youth after their prom. And the donation request is for $1,000. We have a motion to approve the $1,000. And we have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries and the donation request is approved. Next up is Caden Hartley. And you want to take that?
Is there anyone on Zoom who would like to speak, either Caden Hartley himself or his grandmother? Kelly Flanagan.
Good morning. Can everybody hear me? Hello? 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 Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh gosh. Okay, I'm sorry. All right. All right, my name is Kelly Flanagan. Caden Hartley is my oldest grandson. He's 15 years old and he lives in Monroe, Louisiana. He goes to West Monroe High School and has had the opportunity through the junior ROTC program at his school to attend the National Youth Leadership Forum, which goes into intelligence, national defense. They have an opportunity to visit all the sites and everything that are in DC, and they get to visit the FBI and the CIA headquarters and learn about everything that the opportunities for young people in their furthering their career can do. He was nominated for this through his school because he has a 3.19 GPA. He's enrolled in the junior ROTC and he's excelling as one of the leaders of the group. This is really only his first year of real high school, as he was on the principal's list all these years leading up to this. His expenses are $5,000, but we're asking for a donation of $1,000 from the tribe. Last weekend, they went to a Mardi Gras parade and they sold popcorn and snow cones and baked goods. And they were able to raise a little bit of money. And all this is going toward the GoFundMe account. So right now we're sitting at about $1,460. And he's got until April 3rd to reach the entire amount. So he's going through the Chamber of Commerce of Monroe, Louisiana to help, do this. He's also been working on the holidays and stuff. He goes and helps the homeless people with feeding them at the different, like Red Cross or Salvation Army and stuff like that. He goes around and he's trying to be a good American. He's trying to be a good Indian. He's trying to make an impact on his community. So, there's not a whole lot of kids that get invited to this, and I think this would be an honor. And then the way that he would provide feedback to you is through a thank you letter and some pictures for the Quapaw Post, because he will be wearing a uniform, so he's not able to put any, Quapaw patches or anything like that. Does anyone have any questions?
No, I don't think we have any questions. I think that sounds like a really great opportunity for him, and wish him well. Sounds exciting.
It does sound exciting. I'm excited. He's excited. Actually, the whole family's excited. So I respectfully request this donation request.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Oh, we do have a question. We can put that up for consideration. Um, okay. So we, okay. So we have a motion from the business committee for 500. Do I have a second? Yes. So let's do a second, then move to discussion. So I'll take a second. Okay, I have a second. Now we'll go into discussion. Hearing, I guess, a suggestion not to go through GoFundMe. So because GoFundMe takes a percentage of the donation, we're looking, or we're contemplating on sending directly to him or to you for that amount. That way, none of it gets chopped up.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Okay. And I think some of the other discussion that is worth mentioning is that the typical donation request for any single tribal member is 500. That's been the standard for some time now. And just to operate in accordance with that standard, that's why the amount of 500 was suggested and seconded. So if nobody has any other questions or remarks in the discussion, I'll move to the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? Any abstention? Motion passes, and the donation request for $500 is approved. And Kelly, we'll get with you on where to send it, how to send it, and all that good stuff, okay?
Okay, that sounds great. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, next up, Heather Dismuke.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I put in a donation request for some Pendleton blankets. We're having 2 events in my family. So this is kind of a catch-all donation for myself and my son. And actually my request is actually for a purchase of 6 Teton blankets. They're cheaper and they're a bit easier to order. On May 19th, my oldest son will be getting his roach. And then July 15th and 16th, I am the head lady for the Robert Woolery powwow. And so I'm just putting this in as a catch-all request.
So just to be clear, your request is for is monetary, or can you clarify, please?
My request is for 6 Teton blankets. I know we can get them for about $180 a piece if we order through the tribe.
We're talking the Serapis?
Yeah. Because Pendleton's around $200, $250 if you're lucky to find them.
Yeah, I agree. So after deliberation on the request, we're suggesting or recommending that the request get broken down into two. That way it's reflective of the actual request presented, but then also it brings it into conformity with the usual standard of that 500 amount that we typically do.
Well,
So-
then I will resubmit next month.
What I would recommend, because of the time crunch, resubmit on Monday, and then we'll run it through a phone poll. Yes, Tuesday. That's right. Steva, thanks you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, and congratulations. Yes. All right. Next up, item number 15 on the agenda is open forum.
So I wanted to make a motion at the beginning of open forum. I move to suspend the rules to allow tribal members to address items beyond the business of today's meeting without a time limitation, but for each tribal member, only address the assembly once.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second, and it is not debatable. And it requires 2/3 business committee vote. So that would be 4, if my math is correct. And I think it would be appropriate to do a roll call vote.
Member Newton? Secretary Treasurer Supernaw, yes. Chairman? Vice Chair? Member Mercer?
Okay, I believe we have the requisite 4 votes. And let the games begin.
Huh?
Yeah, point of order. Amy, you have the floor.
Hi, I'm Amy Cavista, and I'd just like to say, since we don't have a time limit, I'll leave that sentence out. Everyone that's been in charge with this tribe has all done wrong, whether they make their own laws for their own plans or purposes. They say respect one another. How can we when our voices are being limited? As I've said before, we're not a nation. We rely on BC to conduct our affairs. We need a chairperson that really will be there for the people. Everyone has a complaint about someone. Resolutions are made to put people out. That's how Guy Barker and Callie Bolden got John and Tamara out. Callie and Joe don't want each other in. Frankly, they both need to go. I do say. No one has ever understood me, but I understand the people. I want rights for all people, especially the people of our tribe and employees that are non-tribal. Fear is a powerful word, and people use it to put fear in people by committing fraud, lies, and deceit. and making laws. I see it in this country and in my life. I still see it being used in our tribe. I don't fear anyone except God, Creator, or whatever you choose to call him. He's the only one I fear because he's the only one who can destroy the flesh and the spirit. We're indigenous people. We, as indigenous people, walk this so-called red road, lack the spirit of who we really are. I haven't lost it, but I see a lot has. We all think we're right about something in this life. I'm not right about a lot. In my 66 years of life, I've been up front and will continue to say what I want, whether it hurts feelings or not. If we live by our feelings, then we're in the flesh. As indigenous people, we were spiritual people at one time, but we should have hope to go forward as spiritual people from here on. People can say what they want about me. I don't care because I know who I am and where I come from and where I'm going. My decision is based on me, not any one of you. I got everybody's attention. Dang, how interesting. God has my back, been there, and will always be there for me. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. We have Heather for. Okay. We'll go with somebody. We'll come back to her and go to Cricket. Oh, whoa. Never mind.
Thank God for Angie. I apologize. Thank God for aunties. That's what I have to say right now. I just wanted to request an update on the tarot and see where we are at on that. And also request to, prior to it being presented at General Council, if we could look at those documents, either being mailed out or digitally or something like that. Just because I want to be able to walk into General Council and know exactly what I'm voting for or against. And if there's any possible edits on it, that make sure it's a cohesive document for this century, not past centuries. So that's all I got.
Yeah, no, I think that's a reasonable request. And just as an update for the Tarot Code or Act, whatever we're calling it, it's still being drafted by our legal representation. But I think in this next week, we should nail that down. And what I would like to see is probably more of a 60-day prior to General Council. And the reason for that is because once it gets published and put out there for kind of comment and suggestions, we can redline it or whatever. You can come to the business committee meeting in June, talk about suggesting the language changes, etc. Then that still gives us enough time to do a 30-day and put it out there as well. So at least it'll go through one round of changes if need be. I think that would be appropriate.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So there was a motion approved at General Council. I believe it was this last one, and it's Tribal Employment Rights Office Act. And what it does is it basically sets a framework for the nation in procurement, and within that procurement framework, the ability to give preference to tribal owned businesses. And within that framework, you also have individual employment rights of tribal employees as well within those businesses. So that's kind of a general broad scope of what Taro is and what we're trying to accomplish and how we even got to that point.
Also to like primarily focus on tribal employees and protecting them. So that way, hiring, it's pretty much to protect them as well as like the hiring and the firing, making sure that we have a good candidate pool of employees. Because that was one of the biggest things was we're getting a lot of interesting things happening within the tribe. And this is to help protect the employees. And so that was one of the biggest push for Taro. So just to make sure there's equitable hiring and firing. Equality as well, but more equitable.
Thank you. Okay. Cricket.
Hawe Uga'xpa. Good morning, my Quapaw people. Real quick, I just wanted to do something, and I've been thinking about my relatives. I've come from the O-gah-pah, Ponca, as well as the Sac and Fox people, and within each one of these tribes, I carry responsibilities. My Sac and Fox people, we take care of our Longhausen and our Wickiups, our Ponca people, Native American Church, and that arena. Here, with my Quapaw people, I try to take care of a lot of things that my mom had, established, and that's something I come to you guys today. My relatives, I see nieces, nephews, aunts, uncles, even grandmas and grandpas, like that. So with this being said, I have grown up within this arena at Beaver Springs, and all my life I've been singing, I've been dancing, and through these times, and thankfully, with the abilities that I have learned and earned from individuals and being taught from a young age, it has given me the abilities to go to a lot of different nations, a lot of different tribes all across the United States and to Canada, even over abroad. I've attended some of the powwows over in England. But what I'm getting back at is that, growing up in that arena, I see a lot of individuals who aren't there no more. And, I feel it here each time that I dance. I tell my boys, and even nieces and nephews and other relatives that are just now starting out into this, don't dance for yourself, dance for other people. Think about individuals who are unable to walk or who may be sick or anything along the lines of that. That's how us Native American people, that's how we have to look at things like this. So as time has gone on even within this short time span, within a year now, we've lost some relatives, we lost some brothers, we lost some loved ones like that. And, just not just that, but even individuals who are married within a tribe who are maybe not Native American or maybe from another tribe. I know there's people out there that's hurting right here. Now, one thing that I was told by a lot of my elders with all the tribes that come from, even with our Quapaw people, like Uncle Lloyd back here, he's one of the individuals, my grandma Ardina, different individuals, they told me, he said, the main thing is, you don't think about yourself, you think about other people. And that's one of the things my mom had instilled within me. So I'm going to try to make it short as possible. And what I'm wanting to do is that I'm a firm believer that, our faith comes from that Native American church, that roundhouse, that piote, that grandpa, a lot of these things within that altar. There's a lot of power there. I invite each and every one of you who may not be familiar with it, please attend one of these churches at least once in your lifetime, be part of that, get the healing that comes from that. Whether if it's in that roundhouse or even at a teepee, do these things and try to become more involved with your culture. I'm very glad that our culture committee is, keeping our language alive in ways like this, but there's so much more that needs to be done. And when we start to neglect things as a people, that's when things start happening. Not necessarily bad things, but people can be hurting. People could be ailing from, a lot of different things. So with that being said, I see a Quapaw people crying. I see a Quapaw people suffering and things like this. not trying to get into politics, but there's a lot of things going both ways. You guys have your own feelings within your heart, and that's all right. Believe how you want. But the thing is this, rely on Wakanda up there. He's going to guide you. He's going to make a way for our committee as well as the people, provided we do the right thing. So with that being said, for many years when I danced and when I sang, I used to take a lot of things, and I've been to a lot of different places. I went to powwows and I contest dance. I've won thousands of dollars and thousands of dollars. Not saying I'm the best, but I've gone to a lot of powwows and I've won a lot of prize money. I've also sang and won a lot of prize money, with singing like that. So one thing that I did when my mom passed away, we're supposed to mourn for 1 year. When a loved one, especially a blood relative, passes, you don't go into that arena. You don't dance, you don't sing, you don't participate. There's a purpose, there's a reason. Those old people back there made that way for us and told us this is the way we had to go. So we can't change that. We can't alter that. Who are we to question? And where these elders got their information, Wakanda, God like that. So with that being said, my mom was gone for 2 years. I didn't dance. Well, this past Ottawa powwow, on the 3rd, that was a 2-year mark. My mom, I went ahead and paid my way back into the arena to pay for a place in that arena to sit again. A lot of you know I'm a traditional dancer, but I switched over to grass because that's where my people come from. So having the rights to dance traditional and given the rights and being dressed grass, and not just that, but every other style, there's always a purpose and a reason for it. So when I paid my way back into the arena, I give the Ottawa tribe a gift, something from here. And when I come into that arena, I told that drumming and comedian, everybody who was there, from this day on, I will contest dance no more. I'm going to put that money aside because that money, that mazaska, shonya, however you want to call it, causes a lot of hard feelings, causes a lot of bad feelings like that. So from here on out, no more dancing for money. I dance for my people and my relatives, dance for the good feelings and the health like that. So what I'm wanting to do is I want to approach the business committee as well as the Quapaw Nation, and I'm asking you for help with your prayers and asking for your help for looking out for not just yourselves, but everybody within the people. So what I have planned to do is I go to this arena and I sit, and I have sat there for a long time, and we don't have our own songs out in that arena except for one, just one. I composed a flag song about 8 years ago. We don't utilize it. That's all right. But here's the thing, within that time frame, I talked to a lot of individuals, even within my Ponca people, because the family I come from, Giswater, we're song makers. So I myself have composed 25 songs. I have a flag song, veteran songs, memorial songs, round dance songs, and regular powwow songs. I even composed a song for my niece, Kristen Mouse. And anyways, what I'm wanting to do is I would like to record a CD. Now, the CD is going to be comprised of songs, and on the title of the CD, it's going to have songs, or better yet, powwow songs of the Quapaw people. And all of these songs are going to be songs so that we could utilize at our own powwow. We call upon head staff to come up. Don't make a difference what tribe they are. So, we're going to give you a copy of the CD. This is our flag song. This is our veteran song. This is our memorial songs that we utilize. And when you come up here, you can sing your own, but we want you to sing our songs too, because this is our powwow. So the CD that I want to do, I recognize a lot of people, individuals from the Supernal family, the Crawfish family, the Beaver family, the Quapaw family, the Griffin family. So many families here that are represented. I see a lot of individuals from these families that used to dance who are no longer here. And they look down. I'm sure they look down and see a lot of us who aren't dancing no more and carrying on these ways. And I'm sure it hurts them like that. So what I'm wanting to do, like I said, I like to I've talked to a lot of different singers from a lot of different drum groups, Southern Thunder, Yellowhammer, Fort Oakland Rammers, Otter Trail, even some individuals from up north who sing both Northern and Southern. And I'm asking them to please come down when the time comes, because what I want to do is I want to record a CD, and I want to have all of these songs on there. And these CDs, all the money that's generated from this, I don't want none of it. I want this money to be utilized for our youth, our elders, because that's what's most important people within our nation like that. So however that money is utilized for education, Meals on Wheels, whatever, just want you to think about what's most important. And perhaps we could take some of this money and give it to our veterans too, because without our veterans, our people wouldn't be able to do a lot of things like this. So I respect our elders, our veterans, and our youth and our children, because the CD with all of these songs are songs that, could be given to our youth, people who want to learn how to sing. Little brother Sean out here teaching these singing classes. I used to do the same thing as well. for our youth to learn these songs and continue to sing and continue to dance. And I like for the cultural committee to get involved, as well as the business committee and our people. And what I'm asking is that possibly within the near future, I've already talked to George Valier. Him and I, we talked about this and discussed some things. And what we'd like to do is invite all of these singers down, not anytime soon, perhaps this coming fall. And we'd like to record a CD right down here at Beaver Springs. And we're going to invite all of these dancers. I mean, all of these singers come in, as well as chorus girls. And we're going to record the CD. I'm in contact with a lot of different record companies. And J.R. Matthews is one individual, my uncle. He's helped me out with that, trying to find somebody who's not going to charge us an arm and a leg, so to speak. Not going to take advantage of us. So we'd like to invite this recording company to come down, record us. If it takes more than one day, that's fine. But individuals who have come a long way, I like for our business committee to allot at least $100 of gas for them to come back and go back where they come from. And individuals who've come a long way as well, perhaps we could put them up, give them some hospitality for what they're giving to us, giving them room so they can have a place to stay at downstream or something like that, and feed them. And another thing I wanted to do too, and I've already talked to my family and my sisters, when we're down there at the Powwow Grounds recording, I'm going to call upon individuals from different camps. For example, my family, Griffin, going to call upon them, and we're going to take care of one dinner, and we're going to feed them. Lunchtime, same thing. Dinner time, same thing. If we go into the next day, same thing. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Show hospitality to give to these individuals who's coming to help us out like that. Because what I'm wanting to do is that I'm wanting to give back. And like I said, I don't want nothing from this. I want to give to each and every one of you here, and those of you who are on Zoom, as well as our families, because maybe through this, good things will come to where our people will flourish. All of this animosity and jealousy or whatever, these bad things, these sicknesses, they'll start to go away, because what's most important is our people. So our Quapaw people have been known for, you can actually say, a century. They have been known for hospitality and taking care of people. And I have traveled up north, the same places where Mr. Beaver went and got that song. I've talked to these individuals up there in Yankton, Sisseton. One individual says, I was a young man when Alec Beaver come through. I remember that when that happened. I was there. Talked to some other individuals. They said, one of these days we're going to come down here to O-gah-pah people, and we want to see how you're utilizing this, how this has come about. Because that song that they sing up there, it's the same song, a little different. They actually have words in it. And the beat's a little bit different. Our Ponca people had the same song. Winnebagos, Ho-Chunks, Omahas, Poncas up around Niobrara, Nebraska, they had the same song. So we call it a children's song. This song has been used for years for the progression of our people, which is a good thing. So when we see our people dance, it makes me feel good. And I hear that song, and I see people out there in a unity with all that foolishness outside of the arena, but we're in that arena, we're all as one, and we dance for good feelings like that. So like I said, to come to a conclusion, I'm asking to see if it's possible that we could get the CD taken care of and recorded, and all of the proceeds to go toward anything that Quapaw people have to do. And we show our hospitality with individuals coming to help us sing by feeding them, getting them a place to stay, and possibly, gas money to get back and forth wherever they come from. The majority of the singers are going to be here in Oklahoma. So I don't really see the need to, give like that. Because currently right now I live in Chicago and I'm going back and forth. So, and it doesn't bother me. Like I said, I don't even want no gas money. Just give me a hamburger. It'd be all right. So, but anyways, in all seriousness, I thought about this and prayed about this. I talked to my mom. I talked to George Valier about this, 8-10 years ago. And we're both in unison. And we've talked to other individuals. We want to make this happen because we all have the same mindset with this right here, not this. So to me, like I said, I'm giving back, and hopefully that not just myself, but everybody here can get a blessing like that. Because each family that's representative here, think about your people that's no longer here, your mommy, your dad, your grandmas, your grandpas, individuals who have taught you. Just remember what's most important. That's all I ask. Thank you.
Thank you, Cricket.
Yes. That's all right. I like coming home, seeing individuals and hearing what's going on, So if I may ask, when is your next cultural meeting? Because oh dear. That's all right. Okay. Mm-hmm. That sounds good. Now, one thing that I did think about is my niece. I made a song for her when she was the princess for the ICOT organization down in Tulsa. Felt pretty proud of her. She's wearing Osage clothes, but at the same time, she's very proud of who she was, where she come from. She's also wearing Quapaw clothes. So O-gah-pah, was out there dancing. And when I composed this song, it has her Indian name in it. And there's a lot of special meaning behind it, because typically when something like this or individual family comes to you, they offer things. Says, we want this taken care of. That family, even though we're part of the same family, it was the right thing to do. And I just did it, put a lot of heart into it, a lot of prayer, and that song come out like that. So I do know that my sister Martha Moore Baker, Martha Moore Baker, she also has a song. And any individuals that have family songs that have been composed for it, I know my Aunt Barbara Kaiser, she also has a song that was composed for her by Leonard Kozad. If she'd like to come for us, or someone within that family, get in touch with her. Any individual that has a song that was composed for you by someone else, we like to put that on CD, and for generations to come, because once it's on there, it's going to be there forever, And, if you guys want to be sitting at home, guys are feeling bad on Sunday and it's raining, whatever, put that CD on, might make you feel good like that. So like I said, that's one of the things I want to do. So, yes, ma'am. That is something that we've talked about. My Aunt Marilyn McClellan and her companion, her husband, Boston Wade, they have taken me in, and I've been going to a lot of ceremonial stomp grounds down in central southern Oklahoma, and now going to be heading on down to around Chewy and Stokes, those areas down there. And I would like to have a CD with stomp dance as well. Now that we have more than enough songs for the first CD for powwows, but we may have to have a volume 1 and a volume 2. But if we were talking about getting a CD for stomp dance or something along the lines of that, that'd be very possible, because I have a lot of brothers in Jay, all the way down south, even Osage country, have people that come over that lead stomp dance and take part in that. But yes, that's something else I'd like to do. Yes, it'd be a separate CD, but that'd be something we could do in the future. Yes. Are there any other questions? Okay. I'm a firm believer in doing things the correct and the right way. For example, when you go out there to dance, you see something. Oh, I like what he's got on. I'm going to put it on and get out there and dance too. You don't do that. Or, hey, there's a powwow drum. I want to get out there and learn these songs and just go out there and just start singing. You don't do that. There's a certain process that you have to do. You have to be given the right to do these things. You have to be given the right to be able to sing and dance in different styles and things like this. There's always a process that you have to go through for those who may not understand. But I'm not trying to be rude or facetious or step on anyone's toes. It's just one of the things I was taught. You're paying for a way or a place or a seat in that arena. So with that being said, Ms. Mouse here mentioned, the individuals are going to be singers, are going to be Quapaw. I want that to take part, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up to anyone who is O-gah-pah, who has a right to sing around that drum, who has been brought out there and giveaway, and a lot of things have been taken care of prior. Because you just, like I said, you just don't go out there and just kind of, want to sit in, or you went to singing classes, you want to go be a part of that. It doesn't work like that. So that singers that I'm wanting to have, I want them to be Quapaw by blood, or an individual who is a native blood of another tribe who's married within a Quapaw. So, like Miss Mouse here, she's O-gah-pah, but her husband, Daryl, if he just wanted, he's not Quapaw, but if he's married into a family and he has that right, he could be a part of this. I have a lot of adopted brothers. George, my uncle, has a lot of adopted brothers and relatives. Right now, we've got about 15 to 25 singers on call, ready to go. They're wanting to come in here and wanting to do things for our people and our committee and our future like that. So that's where I just want to go from, is that I'm trying to do things the correct way and the right way. And when I dedicate the CD, it's going to be dedicated to all the individuals who are no longer here, the ones who paved the path for us, this red road that we have to walk, and our relatives as far as our veterans go, because without them, we wouldn't be able to have what it is we have today. So that's what you got, what you have to think about, and what I like for you guys to think about is, just not about the CD, but what it represents and where it comes from and where it's going. So that's all I really needed to say and what I wanted to say. And, I hope that I get the support from the culture committee as well as the business committee. And like I said, I'm coming to you guys in a very good way. And when I leave here today, I'm going to leave in a good way. And going to have prayers as they're going home, praying for our business committee members, individuals who aren't able to make it, and individuals who are here now today. Just want to thank you for your time. Oh,
Thank you, Cookie. Looking forward to that. That was good. Good idea.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I realize that a lot of times I get a little emotional talking to all of you. And there's a reason for that, because I actually love all you people. All of you. Good, bad, right or wrong. My heart doesn't make me weak. The love that I have for my people doesn't make me weak. I've been speaking on the issues that's been going on here for a long time. I've been coming up here saying, y'all need to do better. Do better for all of us. Been saying that. And yeah, I know I've walked away from the mic plenty of times because I get a little too passionate, and I start using words that a lot of people don't like to hear. But at the same time, it's because I'm trying to get your attention to the bigger picture. I'm tired of burying our people. Yeah, I know death is a part of life, but I'm tired of burying them in this way. I'm tired of losing them and continually, oh, well, talk good about them 1 minute. To their face, they're alive, they're breathing, but you talk trash to them. You don't want to encourage them. You don't want to show love to them. But as soon as they're dead, everybody comes running. Oh, I love you. Oh, it was a great person. Weren't you the same one that was talking trash? I've been in Oklahoma officially since 2009. Back here. I've shown up. I've shown up because my family instilled in me that we have this amazing blood flowing through us. It's a blessing that we are Quapaw. We could have been born anything in this world. But what bothers me is to see our leadership forget that their people's lives are more important than the businesses that they're consumed by. A lot of our people don't show up unless there's an incentive. And I get that. There's been times where I've had to catch a ride, or I drive out here on E. That ain't nobody's business. I come out here because what goes on is my future, my children's future, your future. We are a legacy of our ancestors. We are what they fought and died and lived for. And for us not want to work together to make changes for all of our good, I don't understand. And I want more than anything for everyone to be in one room together, to make those decisions together. Whether you have to fight and scream, yell, laugh, cry. We have emotions, and for a long time, our people have been told that you're not supposed to express them. You're supposed to hold them in, be stoic, be strong, show no fear, show no hurt. We're human. We all have emotions. Some of us don't know how to deal very well with them. That's why we have a lot of drug abuse and alcohol abuse in our people. We have a lot of hurt and anger. Those are feelings. That's good. Express them. Get them out. All this going on with our business committee, the love I have for all of you has made me really angry to the point where, why don't you file for corporation status and just give your people stocks? If that's how this is going to be, if we're not going to be a people, a nation, a tribe, just give them the damn money. Do you want to be a sellout for pennies? I think your lives are worth more than that. I think our people are worth more than that. But if this is all it's going to boil down to is who's in charge of money, go ahead. Sell your blood. Make this about every business there is in this tribe. Make it about the money. But those businesses wouldn't be here without the people. I don't care which people. You wouldn't have those businesses without this Quapaw tribe of people. But I mean that. I truly do mean that. If that's all this is about to all of you, do it. You're the business committee. Show them. Show them that they could lose everything. Reservation status, marshals, EMS, all of it could be gone. If that's what you want the money, you want to pay out. That's what this is about. It's not what it's about to me. I don't think there's one ugly person in any Indian nation. I think we were born beautiful. We were told we were ugly. We were told we were dirty. We were told we were no good. But we knew better. We was raised on love. And we lost it for one another. I'm always going to show up for all of you. I want all of you to be treated equally because you deserve it. Your life is important. You have a purpose. You being here, there's a reason you're here. All of you. All of you. There's a reason. But if you don't want that, I don't want to see you sharing pride for your people if that's all this is about. Money. You're proud of the money, but you're not proud of the people. Well, I'd rather get rid of the money and keep the people. And that's all I wanted to say.
Linda Valier. I just have a couple of quick things. One thing that I really wanted to know about is the employee retention credit. Has the Quapaw Nation, with the tribal employees as well as the employees of all of the entities, looked into or considered applying for the employee retention credit? And if not, are we going to?
That's a great question. Thank you. We have not filed yet, but the work commenced, excuse me, about a month ago to look carefully into the program, understand the eligibility, and understand the process. So my understanding is that, and I think it was under the CARES Act, there was one option, simpler application process, much easier process to follow, or this employee retention credit, more complicated. Those funds are still available. And so Eric and I had a good discussion about this about a month ago, and he started looking diligently into it. One of the things that we want to be careful about is there are a number of brokers in the market that are soliciting our business, if you will. They will take care of it for us.
No,
we're going to tread very, very carefully because these are parties with whom we've not done business before. So we want to step carefully, understand the requirements so that we know the right criteria. If indeed we utilize a broker, and then
don't utilize a broker.
Okay, good.
Please don't utilize a broker.
Okay.
I know how to do it. I've done it.
Can you help us?
I certainly can.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing.
Yes, I am offering to assist with that if that's because I don't want to leave. There's a whole bunch of whole bunch of money on the table there. I don't want to see the tribe lose that money. That's a lot of money that can go back into the general funds and go back to the people. So I am more than happy. I've been through all of the regulations. I've read through all of the regulations. I just filed for the one for my company, and with as much money as they got, I started thinking, okay, these are tribal entities and tribal things. We can do this. We're allowed to as well. We need to utilize this for our people as well. Let's not leave all of that money on the table, and let's not utilize a broker that's going to charge us anywhere from at a minimum of 15% to 75%. That's a waste of money when you've got somebody that knows how to do it.
So we'll exchange contact information.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Linda.
Okay. And then the other thing is my mother, Susie Valier's memorial dinner is today. So if anybody would like to come, you're more than welcome to come. That's where I'm headed now. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda.
My name is Virginia Mouse, for those of you that don't know. I just have some questions and some concerns. That's a first. I don't think I've ever heard that before. I'm very grieved at what's going on in our nation right now. I'm very concerned at what our future looks like. This next month, we're going to have this special general council. And any number of things can happen in that meeting. My biggest concern is, should we remove members of our business committee? What does that do to our loans? What does that What does that do to our loans? What does that do to our accountability, to our funding agencies? We look like we're unstable. We look like we're incompetent. We have all worked in places where we don't get along with each other, where sometimes it's a hostile work environment, where people don't share the same ethics that you share. We've all been there. And unfortunately, it's just the way business works, that you can't agree with everybody all of the time. But what does that do? What does that look like from the outside world looking in? We look pitiful. We're Wapani. We're very Wapani, our O-gah-pah people. And I'm concerned about what that looks like to my children, what that looks like to my grandchildren, what that looks like to my great-grandchildren. I want us to be here 100 years from now, just like those old folks wanted for us. And look what we've done from what they gave us, from what our very humble beginnings were. When we came here, we were less than 300 people. Today, we're over 5,500. And we've survived. But we're at a place now where we don't have to survive. We can make things better. I'm related to half of you on this business committee. Well, 4 of you on this business committee currently sitting at this moment. We're blood related. And I love each of you. And I pray for you because I'm concerned. I'm worried of the state of our nation. So that being said, on the bear, let's talk about the bear for a minute. When you go to DC next month, are you going to discuss the language change? Because the reality of that is, if that language is not changed, are we really able to say when the federal government says you pay this to landowners, because that's what the verbiage is, regardless of the resolution that was passed or not, are we really able to say, yeah, Congress, you said landowners, but we have a resolution. Are we really able to do that?
Yeah, that's part of the conversation. Okay. That's part of the conversation.
Okay. The other thing,
Virginia, sorry to stop you. I think it was after the last meeting. So within the last 2 to 3 weeks, I had authored a number of changes to the language of HR 4715. And I know that bill number is going to change. So I sent those updates to everybody on the business committee. And so when we're there, starting on the 27th, we're going to hand those changes to the congressional members to understand what the impact is. The high level estimate we got was it has an impact of 1 month. I hope that's the case.
That's not
because
as
it needs to be
detrimental
changed.
as we feared, I guess is the word to use. So my next thing, Joseph, is to you. And I say this with a very heavy heart because I do love you. In August of 22, you committed to the Quapaw Nation 2 more years. I'm here now. You're going to run for Cherokee and not even fulfilling a year of the 2-year commitment that you made. So if you don't get elected to the Cherokee Council, because right now you've not done anything illegal, you're perfectly within your rights to file. There's nothing wrong with that. but you committed to us for 2 more years, for 22 more months, or 24 more months, sorry. I Quapaw math got involved. What assurances do we have from you that should you not get elected to Cherokee, that you will serve the Quapaw people to the best of your ability for the remaining 12 months of your term?
I can't give those assurances
Okay.
because of the state of the business committee. That's why I'm encouraging everyone to participate come July, because it's going to be important. Those 4 new members are going to be detrimental. It's important. So we'll see.
Fair enough. I'm going to talk to you after. That's all I have.
Hi, I'm Jerry Montgomery, daughter of Flossie Matthews. And all I want to do is just tell you that she's been gone a year, and the 27th of this month. And we're having her memorial dinner next Saturday, the 25th at Title VI. So you're all invited. More than happy to have you, everybody. Good.
Thank you, Jerry. Anybody else? Mans?
Yeah, actually, if you since you called on me, I think that
We'll go to the next.
on behalf of my sister, I know, we were all still pretty much in a tailspin from my sister's passing, and thank the business committee for helping us out so much when my brother-in-law passed. So really means a lot to myself and my sister and all of our nieces and nephews. So just really grateful for everybody sitting here that helped us out. It means more than you'll ever know, more than I'll ever be able to express to y'all. So thank y'all so much.
Oh, thank you, Mans. Just for everybody on virtually, Mans McKibben was expressing his gratitude and to the business committee and everyone that participated and contributed to Mike's journey.
And I apologize, not just DC, so many people from our tribal family. And
Yeah, everybody in the tribe, as well as our other tribal relations in the area, near and far. I mean, what is okay? So the first, you give me a yes if I'm saying that right. Okay. The first question is, what do I plan to do if the Cherokees challenge? They already have. Hate is gonna hate. No shortage of those. And then the other question was, yeah, to push participation. No sitting at home in your PJs on a Saturday. You want to participate in that important process, you're going to need to be in person. We got a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? We have a second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Before we adjourn, Jody, would you mind to give the benediction?
Father God, we just come to you and thank you for allowing us to be here today, and hope that we still continue to make good decisions, Father, and be with our people as we face some trying times in the future. Father God, we just ask you to help us and be with us through these times. Amen.
Gonna gay. We are adjourned. Thank you.